Hello lovely friends, how are you all doing today? I do hope you're well. I'm okay. I'll come on to that in a sec. I'm mostly okay except, so if I wriggle around today you'll know why. I've done my back in. Just putting another cushion in the small of my back. I don't know how. I think probably just too many days sitting at my desk, being on the phone, kind of not been in a great position, and then I think I've slept a bit wonky last night, but it's annoying. I stink of deep heat, but I love that smell. I love it. I must think about making my own version of it sometime. I wonder if I could, using my calendula balm as a base and then maybe adding, is it menthol? I think it's menthol, isn't it? Maybe calendula balm and toothpaste. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, yeah, so if I'm a bit twisty wriggly, excuse me. I've done my stupid back in. Oh lordy. So before I go any further, I want to say a massive, huge, way bigger than the screen, massive thank you to all of you for your incredibly kind comments, messages, emails. I mean, you've kind of given me this sort of tsunami of love in the last few days since I told you last week about my great aunt dying. Yeah, your words have been so full of love and thought and compassion and empathy, and just so lovely, so lovely. It was in a way, I'd put that video on the Monday, that quick video to say what had happened, and so many comments, more comments than I've had on any other video. It was really lovely, and it was a really wonderful distraction. Every now and again, if I felt myself getting a bit wobbly, I'd read some of your comments and it really helped. Thank you. I think when we can share these things, it's a massive help. And I know, knowing the kind of person I am, my personality, I find sharing really helps me. So thank you. It really, really meant the world to me. Thank you so much. Just gonna have a quick slug of water. Also, a couple of you sent some cash. It was really naughty of you, but thank you. I should be using that for some flowers for her. I'm thinking about holding a tenner back though to buy a plant of some description. I don't know what yet, but I would like to buy something in her memory that's basically a gift from you all. Yeah, I don't know what yet. I'm not in a hurry to make a decision, partly because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here and have this allotment. So it's not like I want to plant a tree in her memory here that I then won't have in 3 or 4 years' time. Maybe it would be a house plant of some sort. I don't know yet, but that's sort of the plan. Now, goodness me, I'm just stopping for a little bit of a breather today, which is why I thought I'd catch up with you. I've got a few thank yous to share. But also I just thought I'm going to just share some of this week that I've had, because I'm kind of hoping it might be helpful to someone else if they find themselves in a similar situation. Like I said last week, when I did that quick update, you know, I've had quite a lot of family members die over the years. I'm getting older, they get older, and they shuffle off their mortal coil. So in terms of experiencing grief, that's something I have experienced before. What I've not experienced before was this whole thing of being the one responsible for basically tying up that person's affairs and seeing to everything. And it's, you know, it's a complete step into the unknown, really steep learning curve, my goodness. I've mentioned before about, I think it's a really important thing to do while we are young enough, compos mentis, etc., to sort out things like powers of attorney, so that we have someone who can deal with our financial things, or the other power of attorney, which is to do with medical, that can be dealt with too, so that if we're not able to do it for whatever reason, we've got a trusted either family member or friend who can do that for us. So for the last few years of her life, it was really, really useful that I had those powers of attorney, because it just meant I could get on with dealing with all her bills, or, you know, all the expenses in her life. I could just deal with them. She didn't have to worry about them anymore. You know, she was, bless her, up until sort of 3 or 4 years ago, she was still trying to write checks. I mean, her writing was awful by then. Arthritis and just that sort of weakness, or, you know, she'd write a check and she'd put 19, as in the last century, rather than 20 something, what have you. So that really, really helps. I think another thing that really helped was the fact that we'd gone through her will together a few years ago. So again, I knew what she wanted to happen afterwards. Great. We talked about her funeral arrangements, and this is the one I wish I'd checked on. She told me all along that she's got a funeral plan. It's all dealt with, it's all paid for, it's all, you know, the whole plan is there. We don't need to worry about that. It's all been dealt with. It turns out, I don't know why she was mistaken, but she was. There wasn't a plan. So in terms of organising that side of things, I'm winging it slightly. There are some very basic, fundamental parts of it that I know what she wants, and other members of the family have known what she wants, so we can carry those out. But just in terms of readings or music, I'm having to wing it. So I'm in touch with family to say, are there tunes you particularly associate with her that you'd like us to include on the day? That sort of thing. And thank goodness for modern technology and being able to email, and I can sort of email everyone at once to say, this is the stage we're at, and then I can make my requests of family members, such as the music or words, that sort of thing. Yeah, so thank goodness for technology and being able to basically communicate with the whole really quite extended family so easily. That's brilliant. And also some of the family are overseas, so yeah, it makes it great. In terms of what I have found this week is suddenly there are all sorts of legal words that I've never heard of before, or legal phrases. So that's all kind of been crazy. But what I would advise is, I mean, I've been making notes. There are notes and lists all over my flat. I think of something, I quickly jot it down. So I've got all these scraps of notes everywhere, but then, you know me and my list making, don't you? I've got various lists dealing with various aspects, and things get put onto the list, and then when something is dealt with, I can make a note next to it of the date that it's been dealt with, or who I've spoken to, that sort of thing. And it's apparent that there is a sequence in which things need to happen, which of course, why would I know that? You know, why would any of you know it who've not had to deal with it? One of the great things is I've been literally jotting down questions, all sorts of thoughts, and then it doesn't matter who I've been speaking to, I've just fired the questions at them. Do you know the answer to this question? What's amazed me, I don't know why it's amazed me, all these people who deal with this moment in our lives, who basically deal with the death of a loved one, you know, in a way it's kind of like their job, isn't it, to be gentle and compassionate. But I've got to say, literally everyone I've dealt with has been so lovely, so lovely. They've let me get distracted during phone calls, they've let me go off at a tangent and tell them a story about my great aunt. Yeah, it's been great, and they've all sort of, pretty much all of them have said, oh, she sounds amazing, you know, so that's been lovely. So this thing with the questions, The people I've dealt with this week have been the doctor, the coroner, the registrar, and the funeral directors. And her solicitor. The solicitor I know because we did all of that stuff together. So that's really nice that she knows me, remembered my aunt. There's that little bit of a relationship established already. But literally all of those people, I've at points said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. What do I do next? And they've all been so wonderfully calm about everything, just talking me through it. Have you done this? Okay, that's the next thing you need to do, etc., etc. And then I think it was the solicitor put me onto a website which has been so helpful. So I'm going to suggest it to all of you. Hopefully you're not dealing with this at the moment, but at some point you may be. So maybe have a look now while you're not in that moment of grief. Maybe bookmark it and then you know it's there later on if you need it. So this is a UK thing. I don't know whether you could access it from outside of the UK, but it might not be relevant anyway, just because if things are done differently. But the website, it's the government website. So for all of us, any of us who file our tax returns online, all those kind of things, when you're looking up what are the latest COVID rules, that government website, it covers a mass of information. So if you go on it and if you type in what to do when someone dies, it sounds a bit mercenary, but there's a checklist. And it's really useful because it goes in, like I said, it goes in this sort of order of stages of things that need to be done. And some things really don't need to be dealt with straight away. There are other things which do need to be dealt with straight away. So it's written down, I think it's written in 5 stages, and each of those stages is further broken down into a sort of little checklist, because there are some things one needs to do, but they can't happen until something else has happened. So, for example, getting the death certificate, that's really important. Something else that a friend advised me, which has been really, really useful, strongly advise this for any of you too, is when the death certificate is released, at that moment the registrar will give you an option to have more than one copy. And from everything that friends had said, they'd said, you know, you will need more than one copy, because the problem is everyone wants to see an original. So if I send it to someone to see and then wait for it to come back before I can send it for the next person, that can stretch things out way too long. So they said, yeah, get multiple copies. And one of the reasons I'm mentioning it, again, it's going to sound mercenary, but it's practical. If you get it in the moment, it costs X amount of money. I think he said it's £11 per copy. If I don't get those now and wait and then in a couple of weeks request further copies, it's something like £90, £90 per copy. And like I said, I don't mean this in a mercenary way, but you know, the last thing any of us need when we're dealing with this situation, when we're in our grief and we're feeling bamboozled by everything that needs to happen, the last thing any of us need is in that time to have any money worries. So that was a really good tip from actually a couple of people had said that to me. So that's all in hand. Things at the moment are taking a little bit longer than normal, just partly because of COVID, and so much is happening through the post rather than in person. So normally one would go to the registry office to sign documents. That's not happening. They're going to be coming to me. I then sign, then return. So yes, you know, it's been, like I said, goodness me, it's a learning curve, a steep learning curve. But actually I don't mind, because, you know, on the one hand it's keeping me busy, it's good distraction, And that's not to say I'm not allowing myself time to have moments where I'm feeling sad. Of course I do. Times when I'm laughing to myself at a memory. Also, as I've been communicating her death to people, I've been asking them, you know, when they feel ready, to send back a little memory to me, because I'd like to make a little book of memories about her for everyone to see. And as people have been sending their little stories to me, just laughing because the picture of this amazing woman that comes back from everyone, it's the same. Daft as a brush, but so generous, so caring, lovely. So yeah, really just odd, just really odd at the moment. And I was mentioning on my Facebook page a couple of days ago that, you know, some of these tasks, they are difficult to complete. But in a way, it's as I was saying, it's my final act of care for her. So I'm honoured to be in this position to sort these things out for her. So we'll have the funeral at the end of the month. Because of COVID restrictions, it's quite likely there won't be anyone there, but we're going to have one of these live web links. I don't know how that's going to work. But also what's really great is at the crematorium they've said they'll be happy for me to bring my camera in with me to film, so that if there are family members who can't tune in live, as it were, I can excuse me, I can make a little video of it all, then put that onto DVD or put it onto lipstick. I call it a lipstick, you know, the thing what is it called? Is it like a USB stick? That's the word. So I can put it on USB sticks and send that to everyone. So we can all feel part of the day and part of that moment of sending her on her way. God love her. Yes, crikey, what a time. So, like I said, thank you all so much for your beautiful words. Thank you, you know, some of you have helped with flowers. Thank you to Rio. I'm going to show you now, because can you tell my hair's wet? I've had a bath this morning because I just wanted to ease my back a bit, but also because, oh, Rio, thank you. Rio sent me some of these really kind of luxe bubble bath time treats. Anyone in the UK will know this is Sanctuary. It's a spa in London. I've actually been there a couple of times. Each time was a gift. It's lovely. It's a women only spa, so most people are happy to be hanging around naked. As you know, I quite like being naked. And you don't even have to, you can get like a day pass. You don't necessarily have to have treatments because they're an extra cost, but you can use the saunas. There are sort of hot tub plunge pools. There's a swimming pool. There's a swimming pool with a trapeze over it, so you can swing on the trapeze and then dive off the trapeze into the water. Oh, gorgeous. Anyway, they've been going for years. I think it's one of those real 90s things. It's up in Covent Garden. And then a few years ago, they brought out their own range of luxury bath time treats. So thank you so much, Rio. It makes a change from having dried rosemary floating in the bath, and then finishing myself off with calendula oil or calendula balm. You know, after a while one can get sick of the smell of calendula balm. So that's a real treat, thank you. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. It's funny, isn't it? I think, you know, so many folk have been saying, oh, you must look after yourself. Make sure you're looking after yourself. I do. Don't worry. Honestly, I do. Well, physically, I'm not sure at the moment. I'm just wriggling because of my back. But yeah, you know, I think something really important to say as well is I've always been the kind of person I let my emotions out. I try not to suppress things. And I think that's a really important part of looking after myself. You know, I don't bottle things up. I share, I talk to friends. So I think all of that, you know, that keeps me on an even keel. Yeah, so we're all good. I haven't been to the garden for ages, or have a little stretch back. So you'll have seen the other day that video, the pruning video. Oh, did you get a sense from that video of how gorgeous that day was? It was right back at the beginning of March. We had that sort of last couple of days at the end of February and first day of March where it was beautiful, sunshine, warm. The air was so still. Oh God, it was such a luxury to feel that warmth and just soak up that peace and stillness. Beautiful. Haven't been back since. I've got a great long list of jobs to do. They're all nice jobs, and again, nothing urgent. It will get urgent soon, but yeah, literally since I filmed the pruning, I haven't been back because we had day after day after day of lashing rain, and then of course for this whole last week I've just been focusing on getting things sorted for Auntie Teapot. But hopefully back in the garden soon. And on, I can't remember whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday last week, Catherine, one of my plot friends, she's the one who has the plot opposite me across the main path, she messaged me to say, did I want a load of old used Jiffy bags. I don't know if you have Jiffy bags in the rest of the world, but it's basically, you know, the kind of the padded envelopes. So she had a load of used ones. She said, would they be useful to me for the shop? So I said, oh my goodness, yes. So she called round on, I think it was Tuesday afternoon, she called round to the flat. Obviously we're all still keeping at a distance, so she'd put them on the doorstep, stepped back, there you go. And I suddenly said, oh, are you on your way to the allotment? And actually, no, before that, I think my eyes were looking a bit puffy and red. She's like, are you okay? So I told her about Auntie Teapot. She said, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't hug you, and that's the worst. Anyway, she was about to go and she was off to the allotment. So I said, oh, I suddenly thought about it. I said, would you mind just checking in on my peas and my sweet peas, because they're in the cold frame. And even though it hasn't been like really warm, because they're in the cold frame, I think I'd left some of the windows open to begin to harden them off. I couldn't remember. So I asked her if she wouldn't mind having a quick look at them and water them, because it had been over a week, I think, at that stage. So yeah, she did. I got a message back later that evening to say they're all looking good, they're watered, they're happy. And then yesterday, I was going to the post office and I bumped into Gary. You'll have also seen Gary in my videos, or at least heard me talking about him. And he said, haven't seen you in the garden for ages, are you okay? So again, oh, my great aunt died. And again, he sort of went to step in for a hug and we were like, oh, we can't hug. And he's like, the minute I can, I'm going to cuddle you. Bless him. But again, he has also said, is there anything I need doing on the allotment, just to give him a quick shout. So, I mean, I really have the loveliest of lovely friends. And it's really great that some of them happen to have gardens on the same site as me. And in fact, as Gary was saying, his house pretty much backs onto the allotments. So he was saying if there's something needs doing, even if he's not planning an allotment session, it's so easy for him to pop over. So that's really sweet. I really do have the best friends in the world. And I'm hoping, well, just time gets used up and filled up, doesn't it? But I was kind of thinking, this week, maybe 2 or 3 days in the garden. And then suddenly I'm like, well, on one of the days I'm back to the dentist. Not for what was going on wrong up here, but when I'd had that looked at in January, because it'd been so long, I had noticed a bit of a mark on one of my teeth down here, and yes, it needs a filling, so gotta have a filling, boring. So that's on one of my days, and then I've just had my invitation to have my first COVID jab. Yay. So that's another day coming up, and I'm not expecting to feel any sort of, you know, grottiness afterwards, but just bearing in mind that I may feel a little bit the next day, so I'm keeping that day free. And then I'll have a day where I'm going off down to my great aunt's because I need to, just all sorts of things need doing. I need to go and find some clothes for her to be dressed in. I can drop that off at the funeral directors. I'll call into the solicitors, and one of her neighbours, her really, really, really lovely neighbour who's been brilliant throughout this whole lockdown. When I haven't been able to get there, I've been able to ring him and say, oh, can you just go and check the heating? I think there's something wrong with the heating. So he goes across and does that. So I want to go and see him. So suddenly it's like, where's that week going to go? Why was I saying all this? Oh yeah, because of the garden. I was kind of thinking, I was really hoping this year to get my spuds in on St Paddy's Day in memory of our lovely Paddy, a previous plot holder. I don't think that's going to happen though. It doesn't matter. You know, like I was saying, that all of these jobs on my list, they're all lovely jobs. And nothing is urgent at the moment. I need to do some seed sowing. I will get on with that. That's at home, indoor seed sowing. Oh, that might be the next video. Let's do tomatoes and celery together. None of these jobs are urgent at the moment. But if we start to creep into April and they haven't been done, I'm then going to start to feel, these really need to, I really need to get them done. This year's going so quickly, it blows my mind. I mean, what's the date now? It's got to be the something 10th of March. I kind of feel like I'm still in February, before we know it. And this is what I'm always saying about, one thought at a time, Vivi. I'm often saying that thing of throughout November, December, January, February and March, don't forget the garden. Use that time to do all your prep, because once we get into April, it's going to be mad in the garden. Suddenly it's going to be all bed prep, sowing, planting. You know, we get into April and suddenly I'm going to be doing my parsnips, my carrots, my potatoes at this rate, my onion sets. Oh, I need to check. They haven't been delivered. They should have been delivered. Yeah, so we're suddenly going to be into, we've got a garden again, better get on with it. So if you've still got a list from winter, why don't you promise yourself to crack on with it in these last few weeks of March, and hopefully get yourself nicely ready and set up for April, when it really will start to go bonkers. It's a beautiful day today, can you tell by the light? A really gorgeous day today. But it's cold and it's blowy and I've got things to do indoors. So, as much as I'm tempted to put my shoes on, go off down there, no, I won't. Also, because my back isn't feeling great. It's it's just a little bit of a muscle tightening. It's nothing to worry about. It's just something. I'll get on the floor later and do some stretches. I'll just keep gently moving all day today. What I won't do is I won't risk it by doing something stupid like lifting up a really heavy pot in the garden without thinking about it and then really, really putting it into spasm. So at the moment it's not in spasm, it's just tightened up and it isn't happy. I'll loosen it up, it'll be fine. I've got some thank yous to say that are thank yous from before Auntie Teapot died, and I was intending to sit down around about that time to share some loveliness with you and to do some thank yous. But of course, things happen, life happens, death happens. If there's one thing it teaches us, it is to it sort of teaches us to go with the flow, doesn't it? And, you know, some things are more important than others. It teaches us what's important and what's not, doesn't it? So this didn't happen, but that's not to say these things aren't important. They are, they're lovely, but they just weren't as important as other things I was doing at the time. So the first thing I want to share with you is from Fiona. I'm going to show you the card in a minute. Any of you who ever done any stitching, I need to call it stitching now instead of sewing, because we keep getting confused between sewing, seed, 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 and sewing, needle and thread. And I can't put a caption on the screen every time that says with the spelling, because I know that a lot of you, especially when I'm sitting on the sofa chatting, I know a lot of you listen whilst you're doing something else, so you're not actually necessarily looking at the screen. What should I call my needle and thread sewing instead of sewing? Should we call it stitching? It seems a bit clunky, doesn't it? Anyway, any of you who have been stitching for some years, I can't wait to show you the card, you'll go, oh my goodness, I'd forgotten that. But what she has sent me is, and there's 2 packs, thank you so much. Let me show you right close up. It's cotton knitted dishcloths. I've just noticed how sweetly they're finished off around the edge. Isn't that nice, the way they're finished off? Now, I use cotton dishcloths anyway, whether it's for the dishes, mopping up spills, you know, all sorts of things. The ones I currently have on the go, I think I've had them on the go for about 10 years. So they look pretty grotty. I mean, they obviously get washed, they're clean, but they are looking pretty grotty. So I might consign them now to being used for really grubby jobs like floor cloths, that sort of thing. So these are great, Fiona, thank you. But the other thing is, so there's 4 altogether. They're really soft. These are the softest dishcloths I've ever had. So I think I'm going to use 2 of them. Really cute, aren't they? I think I'm going to keep 2 of them as face cloths, because I do love a good scrub with a flannel on my face. It's funny having talked about these bath time treats that Rio sent. Thank you. I don't really do anything. I don't have a beauty routine. Can you tell? I don't do beauty. Inner beauty. That's my excuse. Whatever. Yeah, so I don't use all these kind of like, you know, exfoliators, and I don't do that whole cleanse, tone, moisturise thing for my face. I literally scrub it with soap and water. Soap and water, I'm done. And then afterwards, a bit of calendula oil everywhere, and then calendula balm for me really dry bits, hands, feet, knees, elbows, bumps a daisy. So yeah, these will be great. Thank you, Fiona. Now let me show you the card. I loved this. Get ready, all you old stitchers out there, for a bit of a memory rush. Isn't that cute? Silco threads. Is this oh, it's a lino cut. It's a lino cut. I love graphic art, full stop. So this, ooh, I'm going to see if I've got an old frame I can nick something out of to put in, because I love it. I love a lino cut. I love a bit of graphic art anyway. But oh my goodness, that was such a memory rush. Firstly, wooden cotton reels. Why, I say cotton reels, thread reels. Why can't we have wooden reels again? It's way more sustainable. I really miss wooden cotton reels. As a kid, I remember, you know, when my gran would finish a cotton reel, or my mum, whatever, we always kept them, and we'd make things from them. Doll's house furniture. All the doll's house furniture had great big clunky wooden legs, whatever. But also Silco, are they still going? I don't know. I use Gutterman threads. I've tried all sorts of threads over the years, but I just found that the Gutterman are the best for me. They're the least snappy. Don't you hate it when a thread snaps? They don't snap. There's a really nice finish for when I'm doing my top stitching, especially so on the bunting where they get stitched into the webbing. But yeah, what a great little memory flash that was. I need to go and look up Silco if they're still going. Oh, and then I had this lovely card from Lisa. Oh, I'm going to check it's from Lisa. Yes, it's from Lisa. Oh, how cute is this? It was her sort of reminding me to remember that summer will be coming. And she said she thought of my deck chair on my deck and all the cats at the allotment. I love it. Oh, look at those little paws. Don't do baby speak, Vivi. But yeah, really cute. Thank you, Lisa. I think that's going to have to go on the shed pin board whenever I get back there. Oh, and I had this lovely card from my friend Jackie. You hear me talk about Jackie from time to time. Talking of Jackie, the last video, the pruning video, remember the 4Ds of pruning? I don't know whether this is going to pick up, but she sent this because it's just sort of saying it's reminding her of my tree lily. Let's see how close we can get without the camera. Can you make out? It's actually, they're all made from little glass beads and pieces of glass. Isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous. I think it's got to be from Venice, surely. Does it say where it's from? It doesn't, but there's a Venice connection. And if you've been to Venice, I'm sure you will have looked at glass in Venice. Gorgeous. That's not going to the shed, that's staying here at home for me to enjoy. Then I got a book. Yay, got a book. Now, I haven't done any reading at all since the last time. I think it was the end of... Crikey, was it the end of February or was it middle of February when I was catching you up on that recent little tranche of books I'd been reading about Yukon Territory, Alaska, wilderness living. Haven't had a chance. Huge stack of books on my nightstand now because I've been racing through all of those. I was excited to get my next stack of books ready to read. There's dust on them. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't finish reading the We Took to the Woods because I think this will be a great one to come next. Even though it's a work of fiction and I don't normally read fiction. Do you know this, any of you? The Snow Child. So I'll just say what it says on the back. Alaska, the 1920s. Jack and Mabel have staked everything on a fresh start in a remote homestead. But the wilderness is a stark place. ... I won't say any more. I think... Now, there was no gift note with it. And I know I talked with someone about this either in comments after a video or in response to something I put in my Facebook group. I'm so sorry, I trawled back through so many comments and messages trying to find you so I could thank you by name. I just couldn't find that little thread of our comments. I did know this was coming. Thank you, it arrived. Please put your hand up and tell me who you are because honestly, like I said, I spent ages going through comments trying to find you and I couldn't. I just don't know what thread it was on. So I'm really, really grateful to have this. It's ages since I had, a brand new book and just checking the smell. Got to smell our books, haven't we? And a work of fiction, I can't wait. And it's got a really lovely tactile quality to it. It's going to be a really lovely read. Although, the words remote, wilderness, stark, haunted. Yeah, can't wait. So, whoever you are, thank you. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, hopefully. Do you know what I could do? Actually, maybe in these coming days, when I get on the train to go down to Auntie Teapot's place, I'll take it on the train with me. How perfect. And I will use Jackie's beautiful, have I got it the right way up? Yeah. Beautiful glass lilies as a bookmark. Done deal. Brilliant. Or do I want to use that as no, I don't want to use that as a bookmark. I want to put it on the wall somewhere. Oh, ow, oh, ow, oh, stretchy back. Now, do you remember, I've just looked at the clock. Can you tell I've been at home on my own all week? I can't remember which video I mentioned it in, but I was mentioning that on Planet Vegetaria, which is a Facebook group by Richard and Paul since 2017. That's contractual to use their catchphrase. Yes, they have a group on Facebook called Planet Vegetaria, and each month this year they are having, what would you call it? It's not a competition. How would you put it? They're inviting us to share photographs with a theme, a different theme each month. And this month the theme was my home art. In other words, the art that we all have in our homes. And it's been wonderful. The themes so far, we've had winter comforts in January, and then in February we had seaside celebrations, so it's lovely to see people's pictures of the sea. But I'm particularly loving this month's theme of home art, because they put a photograph of that piece of art, and then we get the history of why that piece of art means something to that person. It's been great. So towards the beginning of the month, Lee, thank you Lee, shared his piece of art. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. It's in a frame, it's about yay big. I'm going to show you something similar in a minute. And it's from, when's it from? About 1912. I'm just sitting there, yeah, 1912. It's from a ladies' fashion magazine from 1912. And it's the free, rather like we get these days, you know, you get a free pull-out in your craft magazines and it's a pattern of some sort. Wait till I show you this. But it's this myriad, mishmash, crazy mismatch of lines for so many different patterns. The idea being that you get this one pull-out and then you trace over the particular pattern you're going to make. So as soon as I saw it, again, because I love that kind of graphic aspect of it, I love the era, I just loved everything about it. So I commented to Lee, oh, I love this, da da da. And then he messaged me privately to say he'd got a whole stack of these magazines had been given to him. Would I like one? What a stupid question. Would I like one? Heckity, yeah. So this is the magazine. What's it called? Sorry, I'm not Italian, I don't do Italian, but I think is it La Stagione or La Stagione? I don't know if it's a G or a J. Look at that. Now, can you imagine? You're a lady in 1912, how exciting it would be to get your copy of La Stagione. And it's, you know, it's full of all sorts. Let me see if I can, just doing this rather gently, tenderly. So, here are your sort of patterns for the month, what they will look like when you've made them. Oh, beautiful. I mean, so elegant, but oh, I wouldn't want to wear a corset. And then, I can't see anything now. Can you see me? There we are. Isn't that gorgeous? But, like I said, wait till you see the pattern. And I think, I don't have really much wall space here. But one day, when I move, I will move at some point. Maybe I'll have a bit more wall space. So this is something I would definitely invest in a frame for. Hold on, unfolding it really carefully. This, think about it, 12, it's 109 years old. I don't want to go ripping it. Oh my goodness. Look at it. It's like, isn't this the craziest map you've ever seen? Amazing, bonkers. And then on the back, let me see if I can just flip it over. Gently, 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 Vivi. There are some making up instructions. And then here, over here, there's some I don't know whether it's lace work or embroidery to finish off one's garments. There's, oh look, this is gorgeous, adorable for the bambini, for your children. There's some pieces there to make for the children. Look, it's so cute. I'm going to come this way. Can you see it? Yeah. Look, so, oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Lee, thank you so much. Thank you, Richard and Paul, for coming up with a great idea for this month's photo challenge thing. It's not a challenge, is it? Because a challenge is something difficult. It is not difficult to share our treasured pieces of art, is it? But thank you for having that theme this month. Thank you to Lee for sharing his on there. And thank you for sending this to me. I mean, look, these lines, they're just, look on this side. Crazy, crazy lines. Brilliant. I will keep that somewhere, ow. Oh, move your back, Vivi, keep moving. I will keep that somewhere really safe and flat and looked after. And then at some point, one day, I'll be popping that into a frame. I've got loads of art, actually. Loads of art that isn't framed. Like I was saying about loving graphic art, I've got sort of exhibition posters. I particularly love those. I've got some really lovely exhibition posters from the V&A, which is one of the main museums in London. If you've never been to it, it's the Victoria and Albert Museum. It's up in the area of South Kensington, where all the the main museums are. We've got the Science Museum, the Natural History Museum, and then next door is the Victoria and Albert Museum, which was created for all the decorative arts. Oh, it's such a lush day out. So yeah, I've got posters from exhibitions there, posters going back to the late 40s, early 50s, really gorgeous. And I keep thinking, yeah, I must get them framed. But ever since living here, because, well, as you can see behind me, with this slope, I mean, I could put art on here. It would have to be, I'd have to use the little exhibition mounting screws to keep it tight against the ceiling. But I always thought that would be feel a bit weird and a bit oppressive, like they're going to come down on me. So I haven't ever done that. But yeah, like I said, one day, when I move, maybe I'll have a bit more wall space. I'm going to have to start a new frame fund, aren't I? That would be a really, really happy fund. There I was in the last video, and there's one more to come about being beyond frugal, talking about needs versus wants. I don't need any of my artwork to be framed, but I want to. Yeah, definitely want to. But that's for another day. I'm out of water, and I feel like I need some. So I think I should probably wrap it up there, because I've been waffling on long enough. But I just wanted to check in with everyone. I'm having a slight breather today, so it seemed perfect. I wanted to say thank you for bits and pieces. Thank you for gorgeous cards. Thank you more than anything for all your beautiful, kind, encouraging words this week. I've really appreciated them, really. And I hope just sharing some of those experiences of all the different people and things this week, you know what, maybe that's going to be helpful to someone a bit further down the line. I hope it's not going to be helpful to anyone anytime too soon, if you see what I'm saying. But yeah, at some point, we'll all have to go through something like this, won't we? So yeah, hopefully it was helpful. Right, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? No. I was just thinking maybe about starting some seeds. There's other things to do first. The place is a bit of a tip. It's definitely been one of those weeks of, I haven't really been tidying up after myself after I've been doing stuff, and you know, sort of, I've been eating, of course I've been eating, but sort of eating slightly on the hoof, so there's a stack of dishes and chaos in the kitchen to sort out. So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll have a day of just quietly going about, getting stuff cleaned and tidied, put a bit of music on, put the radio on or something, just enjoy the quiet and the security of my little nest here. All right, lovelies, when you next see me, will I be in the garden? I don't know whether I will. There is another Beyond Frugal video coming up about brutal, extreme saving. Thank you all of you who've been watching and enjoying that series of videos. It's been brilliant. Great response, thank you. So whatever it is, until then, get on with your day, Vivi. Until then, please look after yourselves. Remember to tell each other that you love each other, that we need each other, that we appreciate each other. Yeah, we can never say it too often, can we? I will see you all again really soon. Whatever you do, have fun doing it. Do it with love, do it with joy, do it with passion and compassion. Until next time, bye for now.